So, you want to learn to make animated stuff like this? In this video I'll be teaching you the main concept, or idea, of making something animated for your builds. Could be a knight slashing its sword, a mech holding a gun, no matter. I'll be showing you how I do it. First is to understand the mindset in thinking how you're gonna do it. Break the animation you want to do into segments or frames. In an animation, you can't just animate a punch with only 2 frames, because it would look unsmooth, fast, and just not as good as if you were to animate the punch with a whole lot more. Same thing goes when you try animating in Bavd. If you have arm with a sword, and just set it to move to the end frame, like after it's done doing the said slice, it would just look weird and not give the right result you want because it moved to the end frame right away. Let's take a look at my boxing robot, Charlie, and how he has his punches animated. It takes its animation and breaks it down, using delays while using pistons to move to the position it wants to be in its frame. First a frame before punching, the punching motion, and then retracting it. As shown, it's smoother and is actually visible to the human eyes. Now, let's take a look at Maharaga's animation. First the wind-up frame, and then the slicing motion, and then the retraction. It's best to keep your animation simple, and not overclocking it by giving it tons of frames to do in a quick succession. Keep it simple and slow for your animation, and you'll most likely get the best results. Now, let's try doing a pose animation, like holding up a shield or blocking your arms. This time let's try making a gun behind held up. For a pose animation, you really only need 2 frames to do it. The first frame, gun being held normally, and then the second where it's lifted. First, we need to focus on what joints it needs to be able to lift the gun. The shoulder joint and the elbow joints, right? After figuring that out, we use joints to be able to do the said rotation needed. For me, piston joints are the best for this. Servos are just unreliable at most, and bugs out most of the time. So I prefer piston joints. For the most part of doing this, you just need to understand what your joints do to get to this specific position or point. Like, what does your arm do to be able to scratch your back? It moves its shoulder joint, and then the elbow joint. Since I mostly make stuff that are humanoid, I use my arm to be able to determine what my arm does before it gets to this certain point to do the right motions. To summarize it all, think of animating things as a real animation. Make the build do certain poses or frames to be able to do the whole animation better. Keep it simple, don't overclock things, and most importantly, enjoy and have fun making your wildest ideas.